Hello, it is your sleepless god back with What If Percy Jackson Was Trained by Persephone and Hades Part 3, if I remember correctly, and it shouldn't be too hard to remember. So, holy fucking shit, you guys blasted the viewer count on that last video, and let's keep that going. Last time we left off, Percy and the rest of the hunters kind of, talked a little bit, blah, 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 but it was mostly uh, Percy and Nico Giangelo's sister, and basically saying like, "Hey, you by joining the Hunters are taking your rights away from your brother and giving them to me because I'm the closest one to it." And she allows it, getting him his third marker. He has his Poseidon, he has Persephone, and now he has Hades. And yes, I think it's a ginormous helmet. I need to look that up, but it's a ginormous helmet. But now with Nico knowing this, as well as it going into place, let me think. Processing information. Nico and Percy more dynamically respect each other, because Nico still likes his hobby of cards and all that stuff, but Percy is starting to put in like, oh, what about this sword idea, or like blah blah blah, putting his interest in that in more in the same manner, and kind of like putting their interests together. When SunCon came down, said, hey, yeah, I'll give you bus travel, blah blah blah. Percy did not, was like, oh hell no, oh, hell, like you can go with the hunters. Hunters are they could get the fuck out of here. Like you can go with the hunters. I'm making my own way. And he did his, what he calls his bunny holes. They're just holes around the earth that Persephone and him laid out this summer and previous summers, where they can basically transport him anywhere. Instantaneously, Talia ran over there, just like fucking like, because she's scared of heights. And she knew. So she jumped. Luke jumped. Nico jumped in after asking, "Will that would this hurt me?" And like he said, "Would I ever hurt you?" And Nico trusting him and jumping in, and Percy jumped in the last. That's where we ended the video last time. Let's start it. As when Percy jumps in, he is. Oh wait, also we talked about Percy's summer, but that's backstory elements as well. As he jumps in, he start you seeing like he's flying fast. As you see, like little vines are grabbing them and like not slowing them down, but just like keeping them like in the right directional areas. So they're not bumping against the corners and getting injured. They're just kind of moving as they go. Takes a couple turns, couple lefts. You hear fucking Talia fucking screaming, "This was a bad idea!" Luke's like, "Oh god, oh god, oh god!" the gods, as he takes a sharp turn, as you hear like as Nico's holding on to one of Percy's arms, as he's like screaming like, "Oh my gosh, this is so cool!" As they're flying, as they start slowing down slowly, as they pop out, fucking Talia like launches a little bit. What the fuck? Luke's right behind her, lands on her. Oh god, are you okay, Talia? Talia's like, yeah, I'm fine. Holy shit, was that? As Nico and Percy launches, as Nico like starts flying, as Percy lands and grabs Nico by the little like scuff of his shirt before he falls, putting him down. Whoa, that was awesome. It's like, yeah, I know it was, but yeah, let's not tell that to your sister, okay? It's like, okay, yeah, sure, we definitely can. Come on, don't tell her. As you see the bus fucking land right where Camp Half-Blood is, as you see a bunch of campers, particularly uh, walking out, watching, literally seeing the sun chariot, as you see Zoe basically like you see an arrow notch to his freaking neck, and she's like, no, we're not letting, you're not, stop it, stop with these fucking rhymes, we can't deal with it anymore. As he's like, ah, as the hunters get out of the bus, as Chiron pops out, and Percy sees Chiron, and Chiron sees Percy, and you know, Percy bows, obviously, with respect, but also like just with the understanding we're gonna have to talk later about something. Uh, but Chiron meets the hunters, and they start a little chat, mostly about like you guys are gonna stay in the same place, capture the flags, all that type of stuff. And Percy kind of hears capture the flags, and he smiles a little bit. He hears that the hunters never lose. Percy's gonna put that on a losing streak. But Chiron and Percy walk back to the big house with Mr. D. Mr. D does pop up and have to be talked to because this is major. They all kind of sit in the same table they play cards in. They're sitting in that same table, and they're like, Nico D'Angelo will have to stay in my cabin. As Mr. D's like, that is physically, as he shows him the mark on his hand. I'm now his ward. You know the rules of Hades, right, Mr. D? As he leans back in his chair and he kind of smiles at him, but also like kind of like grimaces it. He says, yes, I know the rules. That means he must be in a radius of you, obviously. And he must be in the same room as you as you sleep. Very much so. Very much so. So my cabin, right? It's Mr. D and Chiron. Even they both. Chiron smiles like he's like ah shit, this shit again. I miss this shit. But Mr. D kind of fucking just like the vines start to grow, and he's like, oh gosh, fuck. Yeah, yes. But yeah. So Nico is staying in Percy's cabin, and this is where this goes on, where Percy started training Nico and fighting, but also the first night back, Nico sleeps like an angel, but Percy does not. Percy gets his first vision, and he visions of, you see, a vision of himself. He's holding up something. He's holding up like it looks like a roof, like a black stone roof, as he's holding it up as Annabeth like rushes up, and he's like, Percy, how do you? He's like, as fake Percy says, I followed you down here. Please don't pick it up. Don't pick up the stone. It's too much for you. As Percy's like screaming at her, don't. It's not him. I'm still here. As Annabeth grabs the stone and picks it up, as the fake Percy gets out and detransforms as it's Clarice. As Clarice looks ragged, like ripped and cut, as you can see that she is like she's holding her. She's like she lost a very much amount of weight to her body. As she smiles, wise girl, and her voice is very raspy, just you'll save your little boyfriend no matter what. Too stupid and emotional experience, though. As she sits down, as you see a ginormous suit, impeccable, ironed down to the T, medals. Yes, smart one, Clarice. I respect. As she's sitting down right now, as her body looks like it just crumbled into ash, as her voice falters for a little bit, but the vision goes away as he wakes up, like as he swings he grabs his black blade, turning it from the necklace to a sword, and he cuts. As Nico looks at him and just says, "Percy." Shit. As he gets up and he's in pajama pants, no shirt. You can see the fucking scrapes and the cuts of beasts as he grabs he grabs the pen, puts it into his pajama pocket, and rushes out the door, basically running to the big house as fast as he possibly can. As he sees a couple of hunters who is, like sharpening their weapons at this 4 o'clock time. As actually, wait, I learned something interesting today. Previously, it's technically when you wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, it's not the morning, it's the night. Because how do you figure out where morning starts and night is still beginning? Is when the sun rises to 12 o'clock. So when the sun rises, it's starting to become morning, and then it goes all the way from there to 12 o'clock. That's all morning. So technically, it's 4 o'clock at night where he rushes up, and you see some of the hunters like look at him, and he sees like the cuts and the scrapes, and you see some like wounds, and you see like a bunch of like sword wounds / other things, and like Zoe sees that and like tilts her eyes as he's running right now. He also sees one wound, that the heart wound is almost like a cross now. It's healed, but it's still present, of when they shoved the heart of Kronos into his body as he's running, and he shoves into the big house as Chiron's getting ready, but Mr. D is like, "Chiron, I need to see the prophet." And he tells him what he saw. As Chiron's like, "I can't let you do that." As he says, "Why not?" He says, "Because the prophet hasn't even opened." As he kicks the door, almost is cracking it, as this is when Mr. D comes, as he says, "I might like you to explain that." As he fixes the door, snapping his fingers, re-clicking it back together with nature magic, as he puts it back together, and he looks at him and just says, "I'm done with this." As he opens the door, as you see Talia, Luke, and Nico D'Angelo there, as he says, "I'm sorry, Percy, but as he says, "Nico, I respect." As Talia finally sees the scars on Percy's body, and he says, "We're gonna have to talk about that later." As Luke finally pops up and is like, "Damn, dog, okay, fuck, how do you have a 6-pack?" As to explain this, fucking Percy is ripped as shit. Like, he's toned, obviously, but he has like a 6-pack abs. He has very good body structure for what he does. I'm just checking if my champion for Capture the Flags today is as good as I thought. As he explains the nightmare again, as fucking, as you see fucking Talia with her spear, boom, smash into a tree and crack it, as you see it thunder. As you see Luke crunching his hands, releasing, crunching, releasing, crunching, releasing, almost like it's like a stress ball. As Nico is like, I don't know who this Annabeth chick, but it's like, she's one of our friends. As we finally, you know, we finally get Zoe walking up, and Zoe walks up and says, "Yes, try to recruit her for the hunters too." As Percy still with her shirt off and says, "Yeah," and she said, "Go fuck yourself." And I was there in the background a little bit, but I was there. Yes, yes, she did. She said, "I still have friends that are males. I can't leave them all behind. But thank you very much. Strong willed person, she should survive." As this is where we're going to end off the video here. I hope you like it, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.